Before you get started, it's important to set up a clean workspace that's well lit and free from dust. Any screws removed from the camera must be saved as they will be reused. We recommend taking the time to keep the different screw sets separate and labeled during your project. Before opening the camera, we recommend that you perform a full functionality check to make sure it's working properly. Perform any firmware updates using the smartphone app. Make sure you have a fully charged battery. Before we begin, it's important to note that none of the operations you'll be performing require force. Patience and a gentle touch are all that is required. Now let's take a look at the tools you'll need. A set of precision screwdrivers with a Phillips 000 and a small slot flathead screwdriver. A small pair of wire cutters. A microfiber cleaning cloth. The following are optional: a plastic spudger, a lens cleaning kit, Lens Pen Mini Pro, and an air puffer. Remove any accessories, the battery, and the SD card. The front plate is snapped in securely with tabs on all sides. There is also some double-sided tape located near the LED light in the front. It can take a fair bit of pressure to pop out the first tab, but once you do, it's much easier. It's best to start on the bottom next to the battery compartment. Insert a tool such as a small flathead screwdriver between the body and the faceplate. Work the tool in slightly and push the faceplate away from the camera body. The first tab is located directly below the lens. Push in to pop out that tab. Once you've popped it out, work your way around the camera counterclockwise to remove the rest. Once you've popped a couple of the tabs out, it's easiest to use your fingers to pop the rest free. Use slow, steady pressure to release the double-sided tape and pull the cover off from right to left. Set it aside. Carefully remove the protective black tape covering the connectors on the left. Slowly and gently peel it off, being mindful of the delicate ribbons and locking tabs underneath. Use a Phillips 000 to remove the 4 screws located in the corners. Be sure to save them for use later. They will be referred to as screw type A. Pop up the 2 ribbon locking tabs with your small flat screwdriver, being mindful not to damage the ribbon. Leave the side ribbon in place for now, but pop out the ribbon on the top. Now let's pull out the assembly. Pop the USB port out on the right side and pivot the assembly out as pictured. Take note that the ribbon is still in place on the left side of the assembly. Verify that the locking tab is still up and gently pull the ribbon free. Use a Phillips 000 to remove the 2 screws holding the speaker mount over the lens. Put them aside with the 4 corner screws you just removed for use later. These are also screw type A. Take care not to break the solder points where the speaker attaches to the main board. They are easily soldered back in place should that happen. Remove the 2 screws holding the small Wi-Fi board on the side. Put the screws aside for use later. These are screw type B. Pull the board out slightly, but don't disconnect it yet. Next, use your small screwdriver to gently pop the Wi-Fi module connector off the board. Remove the 4 screws on the rear of the CMOS sensor and put them aside for use later. These will be referred to as screw type C. Remove the rubber gasket around the glass of the sensor. Gently pop the connector off the main board with a small flathead screwdriver, taking care not to scratch or damage any of the board components. It will unsnap and come free. Take special care not to bend or twist the ribbon in a rough manner. Remove the main board mounting screws on the lower left and upper right, again making sure to save the screws. These are screw type B. Lift up and out to separate the board from the aluminum plate. Remove the 3 screws holding the lens assembly onto the aluminum plate. You won't need these again, as they are replaced with new ones from the kit. Pull the lens assembly free. We'll outline how to prepare the lens for use in your modified camera later. The disassembly is now complete. Now that your camera is disassembled, let's take a look inside your modification kit. It includes a premium machined aluminum faceplate, a sensor mount, plastic cap with logo, 2 IR cut filters, a rubber O-ring, a CS mounting ring, a C-mount ring, reversible M12 mount, an M12 key which we'll explain later, 6 black screws and an L key, 3 silver screws, and an LED light cover. You should also now have the following screws that you removed during Section 1. 6 Type A screws, which are removed from the 4 corners of the housing and the speaker mount. 4 Type B screws removed from the main board and the Wi-Fi module. And 4 Type C screws removed from the back of the CMOS sensor. Take the 3 small silver screws from your mod kit and insert them into the new mount as shown. Use your screwdriver to push them into place if needed. Align the mount with the groove on the rear of the faceplate. Give it a wiggle, and you should feel it click into place solidly once it's aligned with the groove. Use your Phillips 000 to screw the top and the right screws just to the point of contact. Don't over-tighten. The left screw will be left loose until the main board is mounted. Insert the LED cover into the hole on the plate as pictured. Next, we'll take a set of wire cutters and clip part of the plastic speaker harness. Clip the two short sides of the harness at the base as pictured. Once removed, pull the wire free from the middle and clip off the small plastic tab in the center. Once the part has been removed, use your wire cutters to remove any remaining plastic bits and get the area as flat as possible. Next, take the main board and slide it straight to the left so that the rounded slot in the board fits around the lens mount. Make sure the 3 battery connector pins are facing up. It's a little tricky to get the alignment perfect, so you might have to wiggle it a bit, but it should go in with no force at all. If needed, lift up on the left side of the lens mount a little to give the USB port more clearance. Make sure the board is properly in place over the registration pin on the upper right. Secure the board with one of the Type B mounting screws you removed earlier. Place it in the bottom left-hand corner. The upper right will be left free for now. Finally, tighten the remaining screw on the lens mount. Now is a good time to make sure your image sensor is clean and free from fingerprints and dust. Take the CMOS sensor and create a small S-bend in the ribbon as pictured. Be sure not to bend or twist the ribbon sharply. It's important to get the bend as close to the image as possible. Next, connect the sensor to the socket on the main board as shown. Make sure the connectors are properly aligned before applying any pressure. They should click together easily. Place the CMOS sensor onto the back of the mount so that it lines up with the registration pins as shown. Use the 4 Type-C screws you removed previously and tighten the sensor in place in a crisscross fashion. Tighten only to the point of contact. If you over-tighten, you might risk damaging the plastic. Verify that the image sensor ribbon is still connected to the main board. If not, click the connector back into place with the tip of your screwdriver. Make sure the ribbon is tucked under the board as shown. Take the small Wi-Fi board. You will find a small foam rubber pad on the back. Cut approximately half the height of the foam off with your cutters. Align the connectors as shown and click them together with the end of your screwdriver. Next, align the Wi-Fi board with the mounting points on the metal plate as shown. Take one of the Type-B screws you removed from the Wi-Fi board previously. Tighten it into the socket as shown. As you tighten, push the small board away from the screw slightly to give it a little more space. Don't over-tighten. The remaining hole on the right will be left empty. Take the speaker and one of the Type-A screws you previously removed. Align the speaker with the plate as shown, making sure the plastic registration pin goes into its socket. Move the wire so that it passes under the speaker and around the back as pictured. Insert the screw through the faceplate and screw it very loosely into place. Take the remaining Type-A screw and add it into the assembly through the front plate. Before tightening the 2 screws, verify that the wire is not kinked or pinched. Tighten the 2 screws until snug. With the 2 parts positioned as shown, insert the broad ribbon into the socket on the side of the board. It's a little tricky to align the ribbon and socket perfectly. Once aligned, it's helpful to wiggle the ribbon a little side to side as you push it in. Make sure it's all the way in, and then flip down the locking tab to hold it in place. You must use a small tool to do that, such as a tiny flathead screwdriver. Take care not to scratch or damage the ribbon or the main board. If needed, you can lift the board away from the surface of the plate slightly to make more room. Use patience and care with this step. Insert and tighten the remaining screw to hold the main board onto the plate. Turn the front assembly over so that it rests on the housing. Feed the small ribbon through the opening in the aluminum plate as shown. Pull the end up and over the edge. Apply gentle, even pressure to the assembly until it clicks into place inside the housing and there are no gaps along the seam. If pressing down on the assembly while the housing is on a flat surface, make sure the area is clean and there are no screws or small pieces that can damage or crack the screen when you push down. You may wish to put something soft, such as a lens cloth, under the camera first. Flip up the tab on the ribbon connector socket. Insert the ribbon and flip down the tab to lock it in place. Place the original Type A screws in the 4 corners and tighten them until the faceplate sits flat and snug. Now's a good time for a functionality check. Insert your battery and turn the camera on. If you hear the beeps as it starts up, that means the speaker is working. Verify that the rear screen is working. The image will just look pink without a lens. If the camera doesn't power on first, check the ribbon connection on the front of the camera as it connects to the power mode button. If the camera still doesn't power on, you must check the remaining connections inside the camera. If something isn't working properly, visit the troubleshooting section on our website support page. Fold the small ribbon over as pictured. For this step, it's best to place the camera flat on a table. We recommend making sure the area is free of screws or small bits. Put a lens cloth under the camera to protect the screen. Insert the bottom side of the plastic cap into the opening so that it's fully inserted. Press the upper right corner firmly so that the plastic clicks in. While pressing down, run your finger across it from right to left to fully click the part into place. If you wish to use M12 lenses, you can now add the reversible M12 mount. Insert it with the longer socket going into the camera for short lenses. There are 2 M12 mounts included with your kit. The aluminum mount is intended for use with plastic lenses, and the plastic mount is intended for use with lenses with metal barrels for a tighter fit. To remove the M12 mount when it's fully inserted into the camera, simply align the circular key with the grooves in the mount. Use a coin such as a quarter to unscrew it from the plate. The circular key can also act as a protective cover for the camera when the M12 mount is not present. Simply screw it into the opening. Turn it around and screw it in with the socket extending out for the lenses that need extra room. This step is not required if you plan on using only M12 lenses. Add the silver CS mounting ring to the front of the camera and align it with the screw sockets as pictured. Use the provided L key to add the 6 black 0-80 socket screws from your mod kit to hold it in place. This ring will allow a small selection of CS mount lenses to be used, as well as Antania Super Fisheye VR lenses. Remove the M12 socket adapter if present. Examine the image sensor and make sure it's free from dust and smudges. Clean if necessary. Take the IR cut filter from your kit. Hold it by the edges and make sure it's clean. Turn the camera on a slight angle and insert the filter until it drops into place. Drop the rubber O-ring into the opening. Take a microfiber cleaning cloth and cover the tip of your finger. Lightly push the O-ring into position. If any small particles remain, they can be wiped off or blown away with a puffer. To remove the filter later, simply use the edge of a small tool such as a small flathead screwdriver to pop the O-ring out. To use C-mount lenses, you'll need to add this simple 5mm spacer ring to get the proper focus. Make sure that the M12 socket adapter has been removed before adding your lens. Now your mod is complete. Have fun shooting! If you'd like to use the original YI camera lens with your new mod, you'll need an adjustable wrench and a pair of vice grips. Grip the base of the lens with the wrench and it's secure and won't turn. Take the vice grips and apply a small amount of counterclockwise turning force to crack the glue holding the lens in place. You can optionally wrap some electric tape around the wrench or wrap a rubber band around the outside of the lens to protect it. Once the glue bond cracks, you can easily unscrew it with your hands. Remove any additional glue. To use the lens, add it to the M12 mount in your camera and turn it until you achieve sharp focus.